point is, you're working for a news organization. If they're lying about a comedian taking horse medication, what are they telling us about Russia? What are they telling us about Syria? Do you understand that that's why people get concerned about the veracity?
Just say Joe Rogan has had it up to here with the woke media, and he's not holding back. Every time he fires up that mic, it's open season on the lies, the spin, the Trump derangement syndrome, and the lazy clickbait journalism that's rotting public discourse. Rogan's torching the nonsense with facts, common sense, and a whole lot of unapologetic truth. So if you're tired of the media circus and crave real talk with no filter, hit that subscribe button, because it's about to get loud, raw, and real.
Glad you're better. I'm glad it only lasted a day.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. We should talk about that.
That bothered you.
It should bother you, too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs from veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. This is not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
All right, here's the quick backstory behind this viral clip. Joe Rogan came down with the flu, and like many Americans, he followed his doctor's advice. One of the prescriptions, ivermectin. But here's where things took a turn. CNN caught wind of it, and instead of reporting the truth, they ran with a sensational lie. Because Rogan had been relentlessly calling out their hypocrisy, they retaliated by framing him as some conspiracy nut taking horse dewormer. That narrative spread like wildfire, but Rogan wasn't having it. So when CNN's top medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, showed up on his podcast, Rogan pounced. Calm, direct, and surgical. He cornered Gupta, demanded answers, and exposed CNN's blatant dishonesty right to Gupta's face. It wasn't just a moment, it was a masterclass in holding the media accountable. Rogan didn't just set the record straight, he torched the entire CNN narrative with the receipts to back it up.
The thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse, you are not a cow, stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making the
Nobel Prize.
The Nobel Prize in 2015.
Yeah.
A drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, mother. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is thick.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying? You know that they know that I took medicine. Like, here it is. This is ivermectin.
You got it with
right
you.
Here. Somebody gave.
Now, if you're still a little lost, let's break it down further. Ivermectin exists in two distinct forms, one for humans and one for animals, most commonly horses. The human version is FDA approved and has been prescribed for decades to treat various conditions like parasites and certain infections. This isn't some obscure fact hidden in the shadows. It's public knowledge. A simple internet search would clear that up in seconds. So no, CNN doesn't get to play dumb. They knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't a mix-up or a misunderstanding. It was a deliberate smear campaign, a calculated hit job, fueled by resentment because Joe Rogan had been dragging them through the mud for weeks, exposing their bias and spin. So when they saw an opening, they pounced, twisting the narrative to paint him as a reckless podcaster taking horse paste. It was vindictive, dishonest, and flat-out journalistic malpractice. And Rogan wasn't about to let them get away with it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on the ledger.
Before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? I didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before coming on your podcast.
But they did it with such glee.
No,
yes,
Joe.
They did. I watched.
I watched.
You
watched. No, I don't think there's.
Yes,
a glee.
they did.
No one takes.
Joe Rogan says he's taking livestock drug despite warning.
Absolutely loving this exchange. And what makes it even better is how relentlessly Joe Rogan kept pressing Dr. Sanjay Gupta to answer the real question. Why did CNN lie to smear him? Rogan didn't let it slide, didn't let it go, and certainly didn't let Gupta off the hook. You could see the tension. Gupta shifting uncomfortably in his chair, nervously chuckling, flashing that awkward fake smile like it could somehow diffuse the heat. But Rogan wasn't playing games. He wanted answers, and he made it clear that he wasn't going to tolerate deflection. Every time Gupta tried to wriggle out of the spotlight, Rogan pulled him right back in. It was like watching a truth-seeking missile locking onto its target. And Gupta, he was visibly sweating, caught between defending CNN and trying not to get steamrolled live on air.
Point is, you're working for a news organization. If they're lying about a comedian taking horse medication, what are they telling us about Russia? What are they telling us about Syria? Do you understand that that's why people get concerned about the veracity?
This is the crux of the matter. If mainstream media can blatantly lie about a comedian, what else have they lied about? Joe Rogan, in the grand scheme of politics, isn't exactly a global power player, not compared to someone like President Trump, and yet they still tried to publicly humiliate and discredit him with zero regard for the truth. So the real question is, what lies have they told about Trump? If they can smear a podcast host with millions of listeners, imagine what they're capable of when real political stakes are on the line. This is exactly why Trump calls them fake news CNN, because time and time again, they prove him right.
John Roberts, go ahead, John. No. John Roberts, go ahead. CNN's fake news. I don't take much.
And in the lead up to the 2024 presidential election, the media's smear machine went into overdrive against Trump. Every headline was crafted to paint him as unhinged, dangerous, or somehow a threat to democracy, while conveniently downplaying or ignoring real issues facing the country. They amplified every accusation, no matter how flimsy, and gave endless airtime to commentators who openly rooted for his downfall. From resurrecting old scandals to twisting his words out of context, it was a full-blown propaganda campaign. It wasn't journalism, it was activism disguised as reporting. The goal? To discredit Trump before voters ever got a chance to decide. Now, if you think CNN is the only one guilty of this, you're in for a surprise.
Fake news media is really hitting new lows, so eager to restart their debunked Russian conspiracy theories that they somehow managed to mix up this man, Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, with this dude, Vladimir Putin. Easy mistake to make if you've lost all reasoning, any semblance of objectivity when you are an activist journalist for MSNBC. Here are some of the corrections.
Last night, The Last Word reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network in which she said Trump was good friends with a world leader. Now, we said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview was subsequently released, and it showed that Gabbard was referring to Donald Trump and the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi.
So you see just how far outlets like MSNBC and CNN are willing to go to smear people they don't like. It's not about truth, it's about narrative control. If someone challenges their worldview or threatens their chosen political idols, they go into attack mode, twisting facts, spinning stories, and framing the person as dangerous or unhinged. But if it's their favorite candidate, suddenly the rules change. Take Kamala Harris, for example. When she gave a rambling, incoherent interview on 60 Minutes, the network edited the segment to make her look more composed and articulate. They literally cleaned it up in post. Now imagine if that had been Trump. Every awkward pause, every misstep would have been broadcast on loop for days. There would have been panel discussions, breaking news banners, and think pieces galore. The hypocrisy is breathtaking, and it proves just how deeply biased the media machine has become.
Tulsi Gabbard mentions that Trump is good friends with a world leader, and they not only just assumed she's talking about Vladimir Putin, but then they report that as if it were fact on television. That's what happened. Let's hear one more correction from MSNBC on that issue.
Last night, we reported on excerpts of an interview between the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and an Indian TV news network, in which she said that Trump was good friends with a world leader. We said that world leader was Vladimir Putin, but the full interview shows that Gabbard was referring to Trump and Indian Prime Minister Modi.
MSNBC ended up issuing not one, but 2 public apologies for that blunder. But honestly, it wasn't enough. Because this wasn't just some harmless slip-up, it was a glaring example of partisan bias masquerading as journalism. When you hear a clip of Tulsi Gabbard saying that Trump is friends with a world leader, and your first instinct is to assume she means Vladimir Putin, without confirming, without context, you've already exposed your agenda. That's not reporting. That's reckless speculation with a political motive. Which credible news organization hears a half sentence and then jumps straight into conspiracy mode? It's as if they were just waiting for an excuse to resurrect the tired Trump-Russia narrative. Truth be damned. And when the facts finally surface, they quietly walk it back with a quick apology, hoping no one notices. But people do notice. And moments like this are exactly why trust in legacy media continues to plummet.
Fact is that despite the relentless fake news and media hysteria, Donald Trump is the most popular president with Republican voters ever. And that includes the great Ronald Reagan after he survived a assassination attempt. Grab some popcorn and enjoy this lefty rage bait, also known as facts.
So this isn't just Republicans who like Donald Trump. This is Republicans who love Donald Trump. And he's up like a rocket. Look at this. In July 2017, the strongly approved was 53%. That's pretty good. But look at where he is now. 63% of Republicans strongly approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing about 5 months into his presidency. Republicans love Donald Trump the way that Americans love.
Now, this is interesting, and honestly a bit ironic. Should we even believe this fact coming from CNN? After all, this is the same network that's built a reputation for peddling misinformation, spinning half-truths, and dressing up opinion as objective reporting. But according to them, President Trump is now the most popular Republican president in history ever. Think about that. Despite years of nonstop hit pieces, impeachment coverage, endless panel debates trying to paint him as a threat to democracy, and even outright lies, they failed miserably. Instead of destroying him, they've only fueled his momentum. His base didn't shrink, it grew. His popularity didn't dip, it exploded. And here's the kicker. While Trump's approval soared among Republicans, CNN's ratings hit the floor. The very network that tried to bury him has become the punchline. People are waking up. They're turning off the noise and tuning into reality. And reality isn't being broadcast by CNN anymore.
Russia is healing. Things are getting better day by day, even as the demented Democrats call for Donald Trump to be impeached for a targeted strike against Iran's nuclear facilities. Still, the number of sane, rational folk is increasing. You know, things are looking up when a confirmed TDS sufferer like Charlemagne is belatedly seeing the light. Now, this is going to outrage his lefty audience. There'll be meltdowns galore because he's spitting facts.
There have been a bunch of presidents who have ordered strikes without congressional approval. Barack Obama did it against Libya. Joe Biden ordered strikes in Iraq and Syria without congressional approval. Bill Clinton did it to Kosovo, I think you pronounce it. So presidents ordering military action without congressional approval has become pretty routine.
People are finally waking up to the light. Slowly but surely, they're pulling back the curtain and seeing through the media's decades-long deception. More and more Americans are turning away from the legacy networks and looking to independent podcasts, journalists, and citizen voices for real, unfiltered news. They're tired of the spin, the bias, and the selective outrage. They want authenticity, not carefully scripted propaganda. And with that shift, many are beginning to realize something else. Donald Trump isn't the monster the media made him out to be. For years, they painted him as a racist, a dictator, a danger to the republic. But strip away the noise, and what you'll find is a man who had a vision, one centered on putting America first. His dream was never destruction, it was restoration. To bring back jobs, secure the border, protect freedom, and reignite national pride. And now, that message is resonating louder than ever. In the end, the media's lies are catching up with them. As Americans wake up, they're rejecting the spin and seeking truth elsewhere. Joe Rogan exposed it, Trump endured it, and now the people see it. The era of blindly trusting corporate news is fading fast, and what's rising in its place is a demand for honesty, accountability, and real leadership. And this brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.